be careful what new laws you want.
Yeah.
Because they will be used against you at some point.
Talking about now putting British troops into the Ukraine.
Yeah, not his son, by the way. He won't be putting his sons in a harm's way in the Ukraine. He'll be sending our sons.
So he said that all hell will break out if Hamas doesn't release the hostages. And I think Hamas then did release hostages. Is that right? Once that happened?
I don't know. It was Saturday just gone. He said 12 noon Saturday just gone. But the next day or 2 days later, they assassinated another Hamas leader or something.
Yeah. He's now looking at tariffs on Britain of something like 24 billion because of VAT.
I don't understand this.
Well, I don't understand the technical. I kind of understand some of it, but apparently where VAT is added at the point of sale, isn't it? So if you're purchasing something. But apparently what we've been doing is we've been putting VAT on exports, basically, to boost the size of the exports. So he's saying that isn't fair. You should, America should be able to buy stuff without VAT on, basically. So I think VAT is happening on exports, but not on imports. So there's an imbalance of VAT. Maybe some of our readers, our listeners, may be able to.
So the British government are taxing the American shopper.
Correct.
Yeah.
With VAT, basically.
Right. That makes. I can't understand. Yeah. It was like, well, don't matter where that product comes from.
Yeah.
It's all VAT added onto it.
Yeah.
But now, right. Thanks.
So he's saying he's going to put a tariff on them to get that money back.
Because you're taking advantage of my people.
Yeah. But VAT has always been unfair, and it's no longer working anything like it. I mean, it's incredibly high, 20%. So that's quite interesting. I think what was really interesting, the Doge thing. So a lot of the liberal media and the liberals in America are complaining about the way Elon Musk is going into these organizations and unimpeded and doing this thing and saying it can't be right. But apparently it is totally legal, everything he's doing, and he's using powers that Obama put in place.
Of course.
To progress the progressive agenda. Yeah. So Obama put legislation in place to allow things like this to happen, so that people could go in and sort of accelerate the trammy stuff and things like that. And what Musk and Trump, which is really clever, have done is they've seized these powers and said, right, we're going to use these, but we're going to use these to do the Doge thing. So the Senate and the House of Representatives can't do anything about it because it's all perfectly legal.
Well, I've been warning people about this for decades. When people say to me, Nick, we need a law that stops the transgender stuff. Nick, we need a law for this, a law for that. And my answer always is, be careful what new laws you want.
Yeah.
Because they will be used against you at some point. Yeah. Because the next group comes along and you've given them freedom now to tap your phone or do this or make sure who's in the toilet. They'll use it against you.
Yeah.
We don't need new laws. We need less laws. But what we need is social cohesion to police and enforce social norms. Mm-hmm. That's what we need. I'm not going to go into that all bother. But I'm glad they're using Obama laws to do it, because that's their own fault.
The Ukraine thing is getting interesting now. So Trump has already said America's no longer going to bear the lion's share of aid to Ukraine, which is totally right. I mean, why the hell we're involved in Ukraine, I've got no idea. He's also told Europe that they will not be part of the Ukraine peace talks. So it's kicked off big style because he's now talking directly to Putin and completely ignoring Europe, completely ignoring what's he called, Zelensky, whatever his name is. And the Europeans are outraged, but they can't do anything about this. I think what is irritating to me is Keir Starmer's response to this is talking about now putting British troops into the Ukraine.
Yeah, not his son, by the way. He won't be putting his sons in a harm's way in the Ukraine. He'll be sending our sons to Ukraine.
Yeah.
It won't be his son.
Yeah.
His son will get a job somewhere else. There's only two ways wars result in. One result is someone wins, someone loses. That's easy to decide. The other option is negotiated peace. They're the only two outcomes from war. Now, we haven't got a winner or a loser in the Ukraine conflict because they're at a stalemate. They've been at a stalemate for years now. The only way out of this is negotiated peace. And it's going to be uncomfortable. I don't want to see Putin keep parts of Ukraine. It sends the wrong signal across the world. But you know what? I'm a realist. He will keep some of that land. He won't keep all of it because that'll be a trade-off for America. You know, we'll keep the Donbass. We'll keep one of the two areas where the majority Russian speakers. We'll even do referendums in those areas. Those people can, you know, a UN or the Americans can run the referendums. If they vote to stay Russia or stay Ukraine, we'll go with that. And we know those areas will vote to stay with Russia. But it's a negotiated peace because at the moment, it's a waste of money at time. And you know what? It's a waste of hundreds of thousands of young men's lives. It's just a meat grinder and it's going nowhere. It's a stalemate. So it needs to end. But European weak leaders, it's easy for them to send other people's sons to die. It's easy for them to say, look, we have an enemy on our doorstep called Russia. Russia has been our enemy as the UK. 250 years. You know, that's one of our oldest enemies. We've been fighting them forever, not just when they turned communist, but before that. It's handy having an enemy close by because then you tell your people, I'm here to protect you from the Russians. That's why we've got these new legislation. That's why we're taxing you more. That's why we're sending your sons to war. And that's why we're spying on you more in case there's Russian spies out there. It's handy for all these corrupt governments and dictators to have an enemy. And if we would have handled Russia better at the beginning of the 90s, Russia would not be a problem. What we did was we beat Russia with a Cold War. Russia was bankrupt and we decided we're going to carry on punishing you. What we should have said to Russia was what we did with Germany and Japan. We're going to help you rebuild, and we're going to help you rebuild as a Western modern nation, as our equal, as our partner, and there's no more need for war between us. But we didn't. We treated them poorly, and NATO and European Union kept creeping closer and closer to their borders as if they're our enemy and we're going to attack. And people might say, we're never going to attack Russia. But you know what? Russians didn't expect Napoleon to attack, didn't expect Nazi Hitler to attack. They all attacked. So Russia, in their mind, always know the West always attacks them. We should have treated them better, brought them on board to be a partner, but we didn't, and this is where we are now.
It's just observing Keir Starmer's clunky approach to this, though. The best thing he could come up with is suggesting putting British troops into the Ukraine.
We're going to send our troops to Ukraine. These are the same troops who can't secure our fucking borders.
Yes.
I don't think Ukraine has won them. It's General Smith. You've let 19,000 Russian soldiers in this week. Yeah, but that's good. I used to run the British border. That's not bad, 19,000 in a day.
But it's true, isn't it? We can't protect our own country, our own citizens, and we're offering to send troops. And this is how out of touch the Labour Party, Keir Starmer...
Just virtue signaling. They want headlines.
Yeah.
He wants to look like the big tough man. I don't know why all...
There's a picture of him there's a picture of him in an army uniform, isn't there, standing with some guys by tanks.
Yeah.
You know, stop thinking about bloody Ukraine and other countries. And all I'm ever seeing this guy, Starmer, is in Europe.
International.
Or internationally or somewhere else. Get back into the UK and fix the fucking UK, Starmer. You know, stop poncing around in Europe and trying to virtue signal. Come back and look after British citizens and look after the people in our country instead of all this stupidity. It's just infuriating.
Haven't we sent British young men to enough wars this last 30, 40 years that meant nothing, that made the world more unsafe, that ruined our reputation? Haven't we sent enough of our men for this? I'm all for fighting. I'm all for the army. But we need to send it in when it's a threat. Russia's not a threat to us. Russia can't even beat Ukraine.
Yeah.
Ukraine, on the grand scheme of things, with an army, and it's a nothing.
Yeah.
Russia's a nothing.
Yeah.
They're a hindrance. They're not a threat.
All this does for me is highlight the lack, the total lack of understanding of what the British people are worried about and concerned about, and the dislocation between the government and the people. It's even, and we go back to the Civil War thing. The dislocation is so massive now that this imbecile thinks talking about putting troops in Ukraine will chime with the British public.
Do you know how we damage Russia? the most simplest way of us to damage Russia is we become energy reliant
Correct.
on ourselves.
Yeah. Be self-sufficient. Yeah.
Because Russia is funding this war
Yeah.
on their gas, their oil, their diesel. That's why they're funding this war. And Europe's buying it still.
Yeah.
And we're funding, and we're going to send soldiers
Yeah.
to fight Russian soldiers who are being paid by us paying our gas bills.
Yeah.
End it.
Yeah.
We could bring Russia down just by stop buying their energy.
Correct.